Hey gang, welcome back to Mondays at the Museum. I'm Carrie and I'm here at the Anna Bemis Palmer Museum in York, Nebraska. So last week I asked you guys what kind of content you want to see on our social media, and I was just overloaded and overjoyed by the responses. So many comments and so many messages. It was really, really great to see that people are so excited to see this museum back on the build again. And it's so great to see not only York County residents, but also Nebraska people excited to come and visit us when we open. It's really a great feeling to have that kind of support already from the beginning. So I asked you guys what you wanted to see. I got a ton of messages saying, who is Anna Bemis Palmer and why is there a museum named after her? And so I thought probably makes the most sense to start with her for our video today. So I'm gonna hit the highlights of her life. I say highlights because she was so important to York County and did so much for York and the surrounding counties that I could probably talk for hours on end, and you probably don't want to sit around for an hour-long video. So, highlights version of Anna Bemis Palmer's life. So, Mrs. Anna Gray Bemis Palmer was born December 28th, 1876 in Sutton, Nebraska. Her dad was George Whitfield Bemis and her mom was Ada Augustus Gray Bemis. They came to Nebraska in 1870. George, her dad, helped to establish Sutton as a city, and then he later became a district judge and a York mayor. Anna herself was a musician for J.A. Parks Music Company. She was also a writer and has a ton of honors for her literary works as well. She graduated from York College in 1897, and she was one of the first people to graduate from York College, which is a really big deal. She was a teacher at Mother's Jewels Home, which is now known as Epworth Village. In 1920, she married a man named Robert Irvin Cutler, who was a science teacher and a textbook author, and they stayed married until he died, which was in December of 1935. Then she went on to marry Colonel Orlando G. Palmer in November of 1944. Orlando was a Rough Rider, and we have some really, really cool Spanish-American War artifacts in our collection. So I think I'm going to talk about Orlando next week if you guys are up for that. So they were married in November of 1944 until his death in 1950. Anna used to reside at 222 West 10th Street here in York. And basically this house, she housed a ton of relics and mementos from not only Nebraska, but also national stuff. And that's how the museum got started, is she kept the stuff at her house and she preserved it on her own. And then it just went on from there. So Anna was a state officer for the Daughters of the American Revolution, which is the DAR. And she really enjoyed leading tours through their museum, which at the time is at the city library. She was a charter member of the York David Bryant chapter of the DAR, and it was a very, very important thing in her life. She was also interested in a lot of other organizations such as the Mayflower Society, the Magna Carta Society, and the Spanish-American War Veterans Auxiliary, and many other organizations she was a part of. Like I said, we're just hitting the highlights today, otherwise I could go on and on and on. She was a lifetime member of the Methodist Church, and she said that her most rewarding moments were spent surrounded by school children spinning tales of early Nebraska. So those pioneer days were really, really big to her. Anna died at age 85 on January 13th, 1962, and she's buried here in York at the Greenwood Cemetery. So you can see how involved she was in our community and how important she is to York and York's history. So I hope you learned a little bit about our founder and why we have a museum named after her. Tune in next week when I will explain the highlights of her husband's very exciting life, in which he was a Rough Rider for Teddy Roosevelt. He got numerous accolades, so stay tuned for that. Again, any feedback, any questions, send them my way, comments, or through messenger service, whatever is your preference. Have a nice day.